Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Esteemed FaceTime with Leaders, an initiative by World Development Corporation. I am Falakzeb Khan, anchor at World Development Corporation. FaceTime with Leaders is a platform for industry titans to share their experiences, thoughts, ideas, and best practices in order to inspire one another and future leaders. In a nutshell, we attempt to encapsulate the multi-decadal learnings acquired by these industry leaders. We also hope that by conducting these FaceTime with Leaders interviews, we can bring together a global community of eminent personalities. By bringing together such visionaries on one platform, we hope to play a part in inspiring the lives of other leaders. Great learnings from great leaders undoubtedly assist everyone by identifying, nurturing, and using the trade secrets that are proven success formulas for many. And this is what we aim for with these sessions by making them a gathering of industry stalwarts and a knowledge-sharing community. We have one such industry titan on FaceTime with Leaders with us today, Colonel Ranendra Goswami. Hello, welcome, Mr. Goswami. We are glad to have you here today with us on FaceTime with Leaders.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Falak.
So let me give you a quick brief about Colonel Ranendra Goswami. He is a retired Army veteran and a professional with cross-sector exposure. Thus, he is an accomplished HR leader with over 3 decades of experience in strategic program management, organization development, and leadership in various functions, including government service, healthcare, and corporate environments. His expertise spans the gamut of human resource management, from talent acquisition and performance management to HR policy development and implementation. In his latest role as head HR and OD of Deputy Team Lead at Care India, Bihar, he has led organizational development initiatives, analyzed HR gaps, assisted in budget planning for the National Health Mission, and a lot more as a part of his regular course. So, Colonel Goswami, our viewers would like to know in brief about your career journey so far.
Thank you, Falak, for the brief and good introduction. Well, I began my career in the Army, and it was 24 years in the Army in a variety of roles. That is to start with initially in the operational space. And then also in the Army, we had our various stints and exposures, which included the staff work, management of various supply chain management and things like that, and a command tenure of my unit, which comprised of 750 people, and including management of the complete resources to make it battle worthy and keep it fit for war at all times. In this variety of roles, as a CEO, I had the complete responsibility of not only managing 750 people who were directly under my command, also it included their families and children, which was also my secondary responsibility, so to say. Having spent my 24 years in the Army, I decided to venture out into the corporate sector. And before I moved out to the corporate sector, I did my, so to say, diploma in hospital administration. But for a variety of reasons, I got a break in the IT industry as a general manager of BFSI vertical in Satyam Computers at that time. Having the experience of the IT, and then the 2009, those issues came up of the global recession and things like that, I forayed into the health sector. And I headed as a vice president HR of the Yashoda Group of Hospitals. And then thereafter, I moved into manage the Apollo Clinics network. I grew the network from 30 clinics to 100 clinics pan-India. And thereafter, I got an opportunity in the public health space. The first one was the DFID aided, UK government aided program for 4 years for the government of MP in Bhopal. And having finished that, then I got the opportunity again in the same public health space, which was a Bill and Melinda Gates funded project under Care India International in Patna, Bihar. So here I got the opportunity to do various OD initiatives in the healthcare sector, and take it to the cabinet for approval and such like initiatives I headed in this space of 15 and a half years in the corporate sector. So that's my career journey in brief so far. In case you have any, any clarifications, I'll be too glad to answer.
Yes, sir. So that was really interesting to know your career journey so far. I want to know, like, was the transition from army to corporate sector smooth, or did you face some hassle adjusting?
It's a good question. Thanks. Firstly, when I decided to, it was not an overnight decision that I made to switch to the corporate sector. It was a thing which was there in my mind, and it was, in the making for the last couple of years before I switched both. And I had firstly, initially, I wouldn't say that there were no issues. There were issues of, having served for 24 years in the armed forces, which was totally regulated as per the certain frameworks of and discipline and things like that. Into the corporate sector, it was a very deliberate move, and you had to have an open mind. You cannot be rigid in your things, and also the perception in the corporate industry about the armed forces people is a little different. They think that we are too rigid and things like that. In fact, it is the other way around. I have been in the combat arm, and in the combat arm, you are playing with the lives of men. So unless you are a master of the situation, and if you are not grounds up soldier, you cannot deal with the emerging situation. So you have to have a very flexible mind, and that helped me also in my transition in the corporate sector. That you have to have an open mind. So I was like a sponge. I was absorbing many things and processes of the corporate world, but it was not very difficult. Well, since I joined the IT industry, so I was working with knowledge based workers. So that is little different than the production related industry. So in the knowledge related workspace, you have to be very sensitive to the workers. There are high attrition rates and things like that. So you have to be very vigilant about how you engage people, because in the IT industry you got to manage the energies of people. You have to engage the human resource in a positive way so that they are more productive. You have to instill certain discipline. I wouldn't say that the army discipline, but the discipline of implementing various processes, and the initiatives which are there, the timeliness of work and things like that, the quality of work and things like that. Those kind of disciplines you have to bring it into the things, the to increase the productivity. Also, I feel that in the transition process, the level of honesty, integrity, and high ethics which we had in the armed forces, it played a huge role, and that is very important, and that helped me emerge as a leader quickly into the corporate world. Next and most important thing I would like to say is, is the review of various business parameters. In our armed forces setup, this review of various work is very rigorous. So I initially for 6 months I observed what kind of review processes they have, and then slowly initiated certain gaps which I saw, and which I, from the armed forces, I could transition those review process into my business processes in the industry, and which was a big positive move which helped me quite a lot in settling down early.
That's really great to know. So, when we talk about like what values and principles you have followed so far, so I want to know, like, what values or principles have you carried over from your military career that have helped you in the corporate world?
As I said already, one is the honesty and integrity. honesty, integrity, trust. These are the three core values which was in my DNA in the armed forces, which it didn't get diluted. In fact, it was a plus point for me, and which helped me in growing into the corporate world. And also the you see in the armed forces, what we do is, we do a lot of nuts and bolts learning, in the sense, from the grounds up. So unless you are a leader, because you see, in the military, you are trained to be a leader. So unless you are rooted to the ground, unless you know what is the capability of each HR in your unit, subunit is, you can't identify the gap. And if you can't identify the gap, you can't do any kind of right skilling. And then your capability management itself is, questionable. So you have to have the thorough knowledge of the situation on the ground, and from there you build the skills and competency of the people which you are commanding. And from the competency and capability, you build onto the capability management, so to say, of your subunit. So these are the things which I think was very important, and which I also insisted in, when I was doing the employee engagement or the HR engagement. I was sitting with the leaders, I was sitting with the people to understand, what are the skills and competencies, where do they see themselves in 5 years, 10 years. And if they want to see themselves 5 years, 10 years, I used to ask them, okay, what skill gaps you think you have in your present setup, and accordingly, match those skill gaps in their learning processes, and also work with their mentors, and your the reporting managers, to build up their skills and things like that. So that way, a fruitful engagement of people was very, very helpful in establishing myself as a leader. And that also gave me enough boost of confidence, in dealing with various situations with my business vertical. Also, I insisted on whatever I was doing with my people, with my HR. I always insisted on a feedback, because unless you say something and then thereafter you leave it as a loose end rope, it doesn't work unless there is a feedback loop system into your initiatives. So I used to go back and get the feedback of, oh, okay, did you get nominated for that so and so training, or how was the training, and did you get any positive response and things like that. So that kind of a feedback mechanism was very useful, and it it led to a very fruitful HR engagement. Also, though Satyam was a CMM level 3 company, there were various SOPs and things like that. So while I was working with many of the SOPs, I felt that there were certain gaps in the SOPs. So I worked with my HR head there, and gave my feedback into the SOPs, which was upgraded and updated, and which also led to my engagement, building my confidence level, my leadership level, and that was very fruitful. And most important thing in the transition was, the team building. In the armed forces, there is the subunit level, there is a team of 10 people. Above them is a team of 30, 35 people. Above them is a team of 120 people. And at the apex is me commanding with 750 people. So how do you build your team? How do you make your team strengthen? How do you make them believe that they are the best? So that kind of a team building activity is very important. And from my armed forces career, I took it out and I tried implementing it in Satyam with my team and sub teams, led them out to do outdoor activities in the team building space, and that really infused the bonhomie, the camaraderie, and the leadership. It took out the leadership level at the smallest unit level, and led to a very fruitful employee engagement. and that helped me in achieving certain kind of an operational experience excellence in my business vertical.
Like really great and wonderful values and principles that you live by. So when we talk about ESG and corporate governance, how and when did you develop an interest in ESG and corporate governance?
Well, the thing is, I had actually, to be very frank, I had an opportunity to interact with the board level people in two organizations. One was with Sangeeta Reddy in Apollo, and the second one was while working with CARE. There was one director level, board level director who was there. He used to come down to Patna, and I had an opportunity to engage with her fruitfully, though for a different reason. When she came to know that I was from the armed forces, her husband, she was an IAS officer, but having quit the IAS, she started working as a director at the board in Care India, and her husband was in the armed forces. So that helped me in quickly defrosting the ice, so to say. And I interacted with her at the board level. She was very frank enough to ask me certain questions related to what I was doing and what others were doing. How is the review of business takes place? Where do you see the business going on, how it is going, what are the headwinds into the various initiatives which I was heading and which probably others were also heading. And also I got the opportunity to ask her also frankly as to what role she can play in easy removing certain speed breakers in our initiatives and things like that. So that was quite a healthy interaction. And with Sangeeta Reddy in Apollo, I had multiple opportunities to work with her and things like that. And I also saw that she, though it was a large board, but always it was she who was present, to review our activities and things like that. So there were certain, she was frank enough to ask me, is there any problem which you see in your business unit and things like that. So since she asked me the question, I was also very frank enough to ask, retort back stating that this is the issue which I see. So it was a small business unit of Apollo Clinic, which was emerging as a kind of a startup in Apollo. So which had a turnover of about say 20 crores. And in that she engaged another CEO. So with the two CEOs, doing a tough war, the business was getting impacted. So this was the issue which I flagged with her, and she was very positive enough to take that feedback from us, and uh, taking a corrective step moving forward to structurally change the business structure of that unit. So that was a fruitful engagement. So that's what my engagement with the ESG initiatives initially were.
That's there. That's really great. So, as someone upping his game with ESG and corporate governance expertise, what values do you bring to the table?
You see, firstly, after having joined your course module, let me be very frank, having joined your course module, this was my first exposure to the various nuances and details of ESG and corporate governance. So I have been reading a lot, I have been hearing a lot, and my knowledge today, if you are asking me this question, is limited to a pure academic answer as on date. So to start with, ESG basically is, you got to do it in 2-3 fronts. One is the materiality assessment, and one is the financial materiality assessment, which you got to do initially to when you join a corporate or a corporate world or a company in the corporate world. So what are the issues you must identify which are material to the organization? That is the start point of your assessment process, that what goods are most relevant. You got to carry out some assessment of specific risks and opportunities which are there. So similarly, in the financial materiality also, you need to have accurate reporting on various financial matters. the performance for value chain creation, investment decision, because based on these, the investment decisions will be made. And once the investment decisions are made, then due to the performance metrics which are there, the company will reach certain profitability and things like that. The combination of the two is also very important. That is, you cannot say ki, okay, by materialistic assessment only you will do, or by financial assessment only you will do. You have to have a combination of these, and you also need to have an impact materiality assessment also. What you are doing, what impact does it make on the ground? You need to have a assessment of that, and based on the gaps, you need to drive certain initiatives with your board, and then add certain with that. Once the decisions are taken, that will add value to the contribution of ESG initiative in the company.
That's true indeed, yes, and we hope so. So when we talk about technology, what are some of the best technological applications you have incorporated into your work, and what are your foresights on the upcoming technologies?
Well, today is the day of AI and chatbot. To start with, everywhere you see, without this, it is very difficult to perform in
Yes.
certain matters and things like that. Even in your daily day-to-day use also, you find more and more use of these technologies, especially AI, which is coming in a big way. Be it the autonomous vehicles which are running onto the road and streets, or any other aspects of AI, whether you take it in computing and things like that. It is very much the thing to drive your various businesses, and which will more and more percolate into your system and into your business dealings moving forward. So one is the AI, one is the chatbot, with which you can easily, quickly make certain presentations or letters and things like that. So that is one which is very, very useful technology, which I've started using. Second is the Internet of Things. It is the IoT of things, Internet of Things is permeated almost all things which we work with these days. So be it your smart parking system. We talk of the smart cities today. So with the smart parking system and facilities which is there, air pollution monitoring control systems which is there, then your various flood detection systems which are there, your healthcare systems which are there, the various remote health systems which are there, which is doing wonders in the country today. Next is, in big airports, you directly go into it, and face recognition system, and you are into it straight away for your boarding and things like that. This Internet of Things, the more you imbibe, the better it is. It will make your life easier. Next is the Web Series 3. This Web Series 3 is also in a big way. It is coming up, I know, with the assistance of the blockchain technology and things like that. So it has evolved from Web 1 to Web 2 to now in the Web 3. With the 5G coming in, this Web 3 technology will be more and more into your way of doing business and things like that, which will be there. So this is another aspect which is very, very important and growing. Next important thing is, how do you handle big data? So data, these days the data flows in from your Facebook, from your social network sites, from your telecom, from your financial transactions, banks and things like that, your email system. So data is huge and it is growing. So that's a problem. But how would you handle this data? Well, to handle this data these days, there are certain, things which are coming up nowadays because of the various, say, for example, Hadoop systems, Spark systems, which are there. they have built in certain softwares and things like that to analyze this big data and throw up certain kind of, you know, initiatives, or, you know, things where we need to focus and work, especially in business. So if you are in a healthcare industry, this data will help you in analyzing, okay, which is where we need to be in the time frame of, say, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, to take advantage of this. So you are slowly and slowly, while you are focusing on your daily routine and activity, the operational activities, slowly and slowly you are building on to this new technology, new data which is there. This data, along with the artificial intelligence, will tell you, okay, these are the emerging things, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which you need to focus on and build your business moving forward. So I feel this way the technology and the uh, and the most important thing is this blockchain. Now this blockchain technology which has come, it is also, you know, giving us the kind of confidence relating to the security of the data, because the data is now sitting in a decentralized manner and with a timestamp of security and everything which is there. So no, there are hackers which they cannot manipulate and things like that. So this is giving big confidence and boost to management of your data, be it the financial data or any other data relating to it. It is going to help you in a big way, provided you are also, you know, keeping your pencil sharp to take advantage of this kind of emerging technologies.
Yes, that's there. True, indeed. So, as you know, we are building a community of industry magnets. The move is meant for cross-pollination of knowledge and building a knowledge-sharing community of corporate giants and industry experts. So, what are your thoughts about this initiative taken about by Mr. Zishan Pathan, Mr. Hemal Mehta, and the whole World Development Corporation team?
I can't thank you enough and your team, you know, to having taken this initiative to build this kind of a model. uh, it is very rare that, you know, you get to interact with the big corporate honchos because of their time scheduling and other busy activities which are there. It's a very great initiative for cross pollination of ideas and things like that, and for people, especially, you know, like for example, we are the newcomers, for us to learn from them, from their various industry experience and things like that. I've had almost, you know, 24 years of experience in the armed forces. Well, that was, you know, a niche experience, but this experience is not help in the industry world. Similarly, they have been in the industry for 30, close to 35, 40 years. So having been in the industry, they have gone through the ups and downs of the industry and then, you know, emerged. They have also fallen, they have risen. So from their fall and rise, the kind of experiences which they can, you know, talk of, you know, the cross pollination of ideas and things like that, I think it's a very great initiative, and I cannot thank you enough for doing this kind of a module and initiative. Thank you once again.
Thank you for these really kind words. It was fantastic conversing with you, and I'm confident that your insights will inspire future leaders. Thank you so much for joining us today, Colonel Ranendra Goswami. We wish you the best for your future endeavors. Moreover, trust that this initiative by Directors Institute unquestionably expanded the participants' understanding and enriched their minds. Thank you so much once again for sharing all your wonderful career journey with us, your principles, the different values that you follow. I'm sure, like everyone watching this, it is going to help them grow in their careers too.
Thank you once again. Thank you. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much. Yeah.